Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Barakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson. And I'm going to start it off with this post from the elder Yashuamba YouTube channel, Remnant Saved 144. Breaking: TikTok US deal finalized. The US app will have its own separate Zionist algorithm. Oracle, 1948er CEO, J-ish Zionist owner, Silver Lake Zionist organization, and Andreessen Horowitz, J-ish Zionist founder, will control U.S. TikTok. There will be an American and 1948er board with U.S. and 1948er government oversight. U.S. users will download a new app that looks identical to current TikTok, but runs entirely on U.S. 1948er controlled algorithms. So hey, more internet censorship coming your way. And those 1948ers are feeling the heat with that war going on over in Gaza. The whole world is turning against them. But best believe, first and foremost, this censorship is coming against the men of the Lord, the prophets, chiefly of GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers coming in the spirit of GMS, because we are exposing that those 1948ers aren't the true children of the Most High, but that them and the rest of their nation, these so-called white people, are the biblical Edomites. We're showing who the true children of Israel are, and which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and what? We're linking up with biblical prophecy, the things that are taking place right now, and that these Edomites are about to be taken out of power. Hence, all this censorship coming down the pipeline. This is Isaiah chapter 29. I'm going to start at verse 18. And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The spiritual eyes and ears of the elect of the nation of Israel being opened up to understand, these scriptures and prophecies and come back to their identity. The meek, and as it also says in, I believe, Isaiah chapter 10, and they shall no longer lean upon him that smote them. We're no longer looking to Esau for answers or relying on him or his society for everything, even though, we still got to work and pay bills, but we damn sure aren't looking at this society as the end all be all. We're looking at it as simply the end. Isaiah 29 and 19, the meek shall increase their joy in Yahweh, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel, because we have our identity back, and we know that the next kingdom to come, the next rulership, is the kingdom of heaven, where we're going to be on top and our enemies are going to be underneath our feet. Verse 20, for the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, which is ultimately going to happen when Yahushua, the Son of the Most High, whom the world ignorantly refers to as Jesus, makes his second coming to save his elect and take away the rulership of these heathens, beginning with Esau. But this is happening spiritually right now with the men of the Lord, the prophets out on the highways and byways preaching this word, which is bringing about the end of this age of the Gentiles or the heathens ruling. Real quick, this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, which it has been, with the major help of the internet, the unicorn as it's known in the scriptures, because from America to Canada to Africa, Asia, Europe, etc., we can upload these videos onto these social media platforms, mainly YouTube, but also TikTok as well, We're just been putting a lot of heat on these devils, and anybody with an internet access can get the information. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And if your spiritual eyes and ears are open, you can clearly see all these end times prophecies are either in the process of taking place or taking place as we speak. So again, for the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off. Verse 21, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. And that post we just read from Remnant Save 144 is an example of them getting ready to make a man an offender for a word and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate. You know, internet censorship, the so-called combat hate speech. And, you know, they're going to use many different ploys to justify it. You see what's going on with the whole CK situation. They're talking about getting the Justice Department and other government authorities involved in coming after people. And with this whole, you know, Oracle and TikTok thing, it's to, you know, clamp down on anti-simulationism, because people are, you know, coming against those 1948ers for what they're doing in those to those Palestinians in Gaza. But on top of that, as I've been saying, it's to come against the men of the Lord who are giving you the true truth, linking up everything with biblical prophecy. And as it said in Matthew 24:14, when this gospel has been preached into the end of the world unto all nations, then shall the end come. But now I'm going to go to this article on Husseini.substack.com titled Billionaire Ellison, Major Backer of 1948er Military, whose Oracle was a CIA spinoff, moves on TikTok after it was targeted for Gaza content. His son just bought Paramount and CBS. So from social media to what? Mainstream media and entertainment. The father is also gunning for CNN. Citizens will be on their best behavior. 1948er military did everything they could to minimize civilian casualties. Hey, we are right around the corner of the famine of the word, where the men of the Lord will no longer be on the highways and byways, and these video epistles will no longer be available online. This is Amos chapter 8, verses 11 to 13. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, though those things are coming as well, but of hearing the words of Yahweh, the famine of the word. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. You know, when all hell during Jacob's trouble truly breaks loose, you know, the majority of our people are going to be looking for this word, but for the majority of you, you're not going to find it. And I mean, it's only fitting, because what? 2/3 of you now already take this word as a joke. And as it says in 2 Ezra chapter 9, when this time of liberty was open unto you to get this word, you scoffed at it and cast it behind your back. Verse 13, in that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst, spiritual thirst, because the spiritual spigot, you know, releasing this spiritual water, this word and the understanding of it has been turned off, and you're going to have to take whatever judgment comes your way during Jacob's trouble, as it also says in 2 Ezra chapter 9, and then shall they know it after death by pain. So like we always tell you, sincere Akim and Akwat out there, drink from these rivers of living waters while you still can, because as we can see with the current climate of things, hey, that spigot is about to be turned off, and all the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding you gained during this time of grace and liberty is what's going to be the knowledge, wisdom, and stability to get you through Jacob's trouble. Glenn Greenwald reports Larry Ellison, the Oracle mega billionaire who has donated millions to the IDF, just had his kid buy Paramount/CBS to have Barry Weiss run is trying to buy CNN and now will buy TikTok with Andreessen Horowitz, which, as we just read from that post by Elder Yashuwamba, America and the 1948ers are going to, update the TikTok app to where it's going to be, scourging or scouring through all that information to find so-called hate speech or anti-simulationism. Really anything exposing those small hats or Esau as a whole, to label it as hate speech and come against those who were putting it up. Lucky break for the 1948ers as its support collapses in the U.S. CBS News had scandals because 60 Minutes reported twice on the carnage in Gaza. It was then owned by Sherry Redstone, fanatical 1948er supporter. Congress got the votes to ban TikTok only once Dems became convinced it allows too much 1948er criticism. Problem solved. And let us not forget Palantir or Gideon, both also run by Amalekites, small hats, which deal with what? Internet surveillance, using AI to quickly scan through information and to find anything deemed as a so-called hate speech or a problem or danger to the people, pre-crime in a sense. I reported on the targeting of TikTok last year, and did the 1948er lobby push for the TikTok bill so that its allies could control it? That's exactly what they did. As I highlighted then, Craig Mokaber, former director of the New York office of the UN High Commission on Human Rights, warned they are not trying to ban TikTok. This was the political and media mantra at the time. They are trying to use government power to force TikTok to be taken over by pro-1948er ownership to silence criticism of hashtag GENOCIDE and hashtag apartheid. The Wall Street Journal had reported of the bill targeting TikTok. It was slow going until October 7th. But again, ultimately to come against the men of the Lord who are linking up what these Edomites, especially these small hats, are doing with biblical prophecy, to make a man an offender for a word and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate. Richie Serginko of Roots Action warned we have a major TikTok problem, a Gen Z problem. Leaked audio of ADL, Anti-Defamation League Chief Executive Jonathan Greenblatt. All these are Amalekites freaking out because the global youth aren't buying the 1948ers propaganda anymore. This is why they're trying to ban TikTok. This legislation's practical ban on TikTok would constitute a serious First Amendment violation and an infringement upon free speech. I tried to spark a movement to get the users of TikTok to get control of the platform last year. See my posts on X regarding TikTok. I'm going to jump around in this article to hit the points. And, they're transcribing what Larry Ellis said in this clip. We've actually acquired a number of 1948er companies. We have 2 CEOs at Oracle. One's name is Safra Katz, and she was born in the Holy Land. So again, we love the country of the 1948ers, and we will do everything we can to support the country of the 1948ers. One of the 1948er firms purchased by Oracle was Crosswise, founded by former operatives of Unit 8200, the 1948ers equivalent of the NSA. In 2003, Katz demanded the inscription of Oracle stands with the 1948ers be displayed on all the company's screens in more than 180 countries. See Piece on Unit 8200. inside the 1948ers' secret startup machine from Forbes. Truth Out reported last year the largest donation to the FIDF may come in 2017 when Larry Ellison, the co-founder and chairman of Oracle and who is worth over $200 billion, gave the group $16.6 million. Ellison also donated $10 million in 2014. The San Francisco Chronicle in 2002 published the piece Oracle's coziness with government goes back to its founding and the firm's growth sustained as niche established with federal and state agencies. The outlet reported the CIA was not just Oracle's first customer. Founded in May 1977, the firm's name came from a CIA project codenamed Oracle. Company co-founders Larry Ellison, Robert Minder, and Ed Oates worked on Project Oracle as a consulting firm before striking out on their own. This has similarities to the origins of Facebook and Palantir, as Whitney Webb and Jeremy Lafredo have written. Palantir has its origins with In-Q-Tel, the CIA's capital venture arm. Everything at the top goes back to the same power, You have no free choice, just the illusion of free choice. Your votes never mattered, as it says in Revelation chapter 13. And I saw another beast come up with 2 horns like a lamb, but it spake as a dragon. Going into America, the 2 horns going into the Republicans and the Democrats, but it spake as a dragon. They give you the illusion of choice to think that you're voting for your own best interests. But at the end of the day, they spake as a dragon. They're still on board with the agenda of the elites, which heavily includes, promoting the small hats and taking heat off, the 1948ers, putting them in the best light possible. Webb has reported on big tech's connections to the 1948ers and the Epstein network. She also noted how much big tech work focuses on pre-crime and stemmed from aspects of total information awareness, a project started after 9/11 and headed by John Poindexter, who committed much of the Iran-Contra scandal until public outrage forced parts of it to be pushed to the shadows or effectively privatized. One aspect of Iran-Contra was continuity of government plans to suspect the U.S. Constitution in a normal emergency. Former CIA Director Leon Panetta, who also headed the Pentagon, is on the board of Oracle. Oracle databases are used by an enormous number of governments and companies. I don't think we understand the ramifications of that, Low-Key reports. Many oppose Larry Ellison taking over TikTok, but do they know his firm Oracle stores data of the UK Home Office, Ministry of Defense, and NHS? He offered Netanyahu director role and employed relative of the UK PM at the same time as bidding for the contract. Ellison has spoken of how mass AI surveillance will ensure citizens will be on their best behavior, rather channeling total information awareness. On Trump's second day in office, which, Trump is the ultimate prostitute for the 1948ers. He's so blatant with it. He hosted Larry Ellison along with Sam Altman, protege of Palantir chairman Peter Thiel of OpenAI, and Masayoshi Son of SoftBank, which funds the 1948er firm Cybereason, at the White House to announce Project Stargate, which was a $500 billion project to do what? And quickly build up the AI infrastructure in the U.S. to monitor information online and especially have that infrastructure ready for when the mark of the BEAST in Revelation 13, verses 16 to 18, that micro C hip implant is rolled out and mandatorily implemented to run these smart cities, and the grid. But I'm going to play a little bit of this clip right here so you can hear it out of the horse's mouth. And this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
Police will be on their best behavior because the police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. And it's
citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything.
The cars have cameras on them. I think we have a squad car here someplace. But those kind of applications using AI, if we can use AI, and we're using AI to monitor the video. So if that altercation that occurred in Memphis, the chief of police would be immediately notified. It's not people that are looking at those cameras, it's AI that's looking at the camera. No, you can't do this. It would be like a shooting. That's going to be an event that's immediately, an alarm's going to go off, it's going to be, and we're going to have supervision. In other words, every police officer is going to be supervised at all times. And the supervision will, and if there's a problem, AI will report the problem and report it to the appropriate person, whether it's the sheriff or the chief or whomever we need to take control of the situation. We have, same thing. We have drones. If there's something going on in a shopping center, and I'll stop, a drone goes out there, get there way faster than a police car. There's no reason for, by the way, high-speed chases. You shouldn't have high-speed chases between cars. You just have a drone follow the car. I mean, it's very, very simple. And the new generation of autonomous drones. The police.
And see how that devil packaged it properly at first. Oh, this is going to be to monitor police brutality. But then he said, citizens will be on their best behavior. That's the main thing. Tracking, recording, and keeping tabs on every citizen out here to see, what they're saying and what they're pushing out. And if it involves hate speech, anti-simulationism, or anything that's deemed, a problem to the state. Middle East Eye reported in April, Paramount under fire for meddling in Gaza coverage after 60 Minutes producer resigns. Now it's getting worse. With the New York Times reporting, the new owner of CBS News is weighing giving Ms. Wise the job of editor-in-chief or co-president of the network as part of a broader deal to buy the free press, according to two people with knowledge of the deal. See Alan McLeod at Mint Press News report. The 1948er's biggest U.S. donor now owns CBS. Interestingly, back in 2020, CNBC reported Trump agrees to TikTok deal with Oracle and Walmart. Now, TikTok is removing videos critical of the deal, according to a young video maker at Guy Christensen, who urges people to have Representative Ro Khanna bring in Ellison for hearing. An issue with that would be that Khanna literally represents Silicon Valley, and its biggest funders are not only Google, Apple, and J Street PAC, but also Andreessen Horowitz, which is literally part of the deal. The two horns like a lamb, but spake as a dragon. Hey, you may have the left wing and the right wing, but there's still two wings of that same despotic bird. Larry Ellison, founder of software firm Oracle, is the second richest billionaire in both the US and the world, and for a brief moment was number one in the world. On Forbes' US list, he is sandwiched between Elon Musk, who bought the social media network Twitter and rebranded it as X, and Mark Zuckerberg, who runs Meta, which operates Facebook and Instagram. Jeff Bezos at number 4 has the Washington Post. Larry Page and Sergey Brin of Google, number 5 and 6, operate the leading search engine as well as one of the most important news aggregators, Google News. Michael Bloomberg at number 13, the former New York City mayor, has Bloomberg and its various outlets. The New York Post reports that Ellison's father and son are now looking to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, which carries with it CNN, creating an unprecedented level of media consolidation. So having the entire, market cornered, from social media platforms, to mainstream media. We saw Google in there, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google News, CNN, everything to do what? Control the narrative and, manipulate the people's minds. Larry's son, David Ellison, is the CEO of Skydance, which recently merged with Paramount, giving him control over CBS. Paramount, under its new owner, David Ellison, has become the first major Hollywood studio to condemn a boycott of 1948 film institutions that more than 4,000 actors and directors now support. The New York Times on September 13th, 2025 said. So, that's it with this article. But hey, as we can clearly see, that devil is moving behind the scenes quickly. As it says in Revelation 12, verse 12, the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. These elites see the writing on the wall. Again, this gospel of the kingdom being preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations through the internet, bringing about the end, bringing about their revealing and the end of their rulership. So now they're doing whatever they can to control the narrative and ultimately demonize, the men of the Lord and the truth, that make a man an offender for a word and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate. But there's not a goddamn thing you Edomites, you 1948ers or you elites can do about it. You're just further forwarding prophecy and your end. But now I'm going to close it out in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, which happened already with, the northern kingdom after the Assyrian captivity coming to the Americas and became the various, Native American tribes. And then the southern kingdom after 70 AD, fleeing into Europe and into the western coast of Africa, becoming different civilizations as well. And then you had the transatlantic slave trade, where our identities were literally beaten out of us. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition or destruction. And the man of sin, the son of perdition, has been revealed as the biblical Edomite, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High, which we can see Esau has done with his technology. Oracle, which an oracle is what? Like a prophet seeing into the future. Or Palantir, which goes back to Lord of the Rings, which, goes into seeing everything. Setting up AI to and satellites and drones and all this infrastructure to be able to watch over everybody and know what they're doing, and ultimately to want to know what they're thinking with implants in them. You had Noah Yuval Harari said, the time of free will is over, which he's an Amalekite as well. Esau literally wants to be like the Most High, seeing and knowing, and controlling everything. Verse 5, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time, because those Edomites were the Romans back then, but it wasn't their time to be revealed as the wicked, the son of perdition, the man of sin, but we're in that time right now. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. The Lord has allowed Esau to be hidden and do his wickedness until he reached the bounds which he could not pass, and to fulfill biblical prophecy, which he's just about reached those bounds, hence why he's being revealed and he's losing his power. And then shall that wicked be revealed, who the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, by the prophets, his mouthpiece. Back in Isaiah 29, and the scorner and those that watch for iniquity are being cut off right now spiritually, and then shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Yahushua making his second coming to physically take this devil out of power. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, his left-handed energy, which he uses mainly with his technology, which he gets from the spiritual demon Satan. And when we go to that word working in the Strongs, it's G1753, energia, which in the outline of biblical usage says, in the New Testament, used of superhuman power, whether of the Most High or of the devil. And Esau's technology is superhuman power, of Satan, which we can see he has used to manipulate the world and get them to follow after his way. And as we just read from that article, with all these different media and social media platforms and news industries and companies being consolidated into a few hands, that's just going to give him a further grip on things to push his narrative, his signs and his lying wonders, which is going to deceive the masses of people. As you know, the masses of people have already, been deceived by him. Verse 10, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. Going into our people who, majority of them don't take heed to this word, but would rather follow after Esau and what he has to say, because he has that physical power right now. And for this cause, the Most High shall send them a strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. All this witchcraft and deception that Esau pushes out, and it is only going to be more amplified now that you're seeing all these different companies and platforms being consolidated into a few hands. But that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere, Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites, and the famine of the word is right around the corner. So get as much knowledge, wisdom, and understanding as you can, so that you won't have any regrets during Jacob's trouble, being like those fair virgins and young men fainting for thirst, and that are going to know it after death by pain, and also know, as it says in Ezekiel 33:33, and then shall they know that a prophet had been among them. So as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next